Hey guys, here we go into a video on Floyd Mayweather versus Miguel Cotto. And what we're going to be talking about today is kind of timing. We're going to be talking about your goals in the ring, crossing your head over the line, over your opponent's line, the ways that you kind of can threaten your opponent, and, why you're looking to do all of this stuff, and hopefully I can make it kind of concise enough. I don't do a lot of film study on Mayweather. I expect most of his fights to kind of be copyrighted and stuff, at least the ones that people are going to be interested in. But there's also a lot going on. So let's go ahead and get into the first piece of information we get on Mr. Mayweather. Well, look at the position that he meets Cotto on the line, right? He stops, he plants himself here, and he says, okay, when Cotto decides to cross my line, this is the position I want to defend myself in. It's right here, right? So think about all the positions that he can put himself in easily from this position, right? His head's not really over his front foot or his back foot. It's kind of neutral so that he can still shift his weight to either side, right? So now walking back, forwards, going through, and you can see that immediately he's looking to catch the jab and get off the line. Now, one thing I want to point out, Mayweather catches the first shot, right? And then immediately moves off the line before the second one comes. That's going to be a common theme for Mayweather. It's really important that you never kind of let somebody throw two punches at you, because the first punch is always the setup punch, right? It just is the way that kind of works with your body mechanics to set you up, right? Or your weight transitions. So now, anyway, Mayweather choosing to get off the line. He's looking to get a look at Cotto, right? Now Cotto comes in, and what is the first thing he does, right, after he shot his jab, right? He's going to get back on the line, right, with Mayweather. And look at how he's going to take this big step right here. Right now his head is on the left side of Mayweather's head, right? But as he crosses the line, right, to get his head to the outside of Mayweather, right, to get it to his right side, he's looking to set up this left hook, right? So first he has to cross Mayweather's line. See how he's on the inside of Mayweather, right? Or the inside, right? And then he slips to the outside so that he can set himself up to throw this hook, right? Very Mike Tyson-like. Now, Cotto doesn't exactly have Mike Tyson's technique, right? He's not as good. But Cotto actually has like some very, very underrated technique. He's a very, very good fighter. Yeah, I can see why he gave Mayweather so many problems when they fought. So anyway, Mayweather, again, getting back on the line, and looking to control his opponent, right? Just control that lead hand. Cotto coming forward, feinting. He catches, right? The feint. I know there's nothing coming. And then just continues to look to defend and then control Cotto, right? So this position right here, when Cotto shoots the jab here, and then when Mayweather controls him, right? This is going to block Cotto's weight transfer. If Cotto tries to throw a right hand here, he's going to simply get smothered and blocked out by Mayweather's lead hand. In order to get his right hand into the attack, he has to get his weight from the right side of his body to the left side of his body. And Mayweather putting his glove here is going to block that weight transfer. It's also going to threaten an attack and show Cotto what he's looking to do. Now, notice before, Mayweather was meeting Cotto to the line here, right? On the back foot, right? He's looking to be more defensive, right? Pull his weight away from his opponent. Now he's going to be meeting Cotto here on the front foot. And this is presumably to bring his weight toward his opponent, which would imply either using straight right hands, right? Or setting up maybe his left hook, right? Or crossing his weight back when he shoots his jab. So when they get on the line here, Mayweather has a very aggressive posture here. He can throw right hands, or he can throw left hooks, or he can throw a left cross, right, if Cotto stays at this distance. So Cotto has to find a way to get on the line with Mayweather, right, so that he can engage him and take this engagement and figure out how to make it a good engagement for him, right? So he has to slowly get on the line. So he's going to take this step right here, right? And look at how he transitions his weight to his back side. See how his body kind of flexes back? Right? So he goes forward, right? Back, right? And see how his weight's going to be sitting on his back side right now as he takes this step, right? Look at how he brings his left hand up to block that side of his face, right? So right now, he's in the perfect position for Mayweather to throw a right hand, right? He's at the end of his weight transition on the right side. And this is the position that Mayweather is looking to pin Cotto down in and then force Cotto to cross the line and attack him. So in theory, that's what he's looking to do. But Cotto gets his guard up and he says, nah, I'm not going to get caught with that. And decides to transfer his weight to his front foot, bring his glove up, and take another step, right? Then as he comes forward and approaches Mayweather on the line, gets his glove up, and now he begins to attack, right? Mayweather didn't find the opportunity that he was looking for to attack Cotto because Cotto keeps his head on the right side of Mayweather's line, right? He doesn't allow it to cross, so he doesn't put himself in danger of getting caught with the right hand. But also, Cotto knows that Mayweather might block his weight transition with the jab as well. So what Cotto's looking to do here is just get his head over enough Mayweather's line that he can start threatening him with this jab. Now, why is it important that you always get away from the second punch? Because the first one is the setup, right? Now, Cotto sets this up near perfectly, right? He's getting on the line, he's crossing, he's getting on the line, crossing, oh, just kidding. And he sets a 1-2, right? Or like a two-way transition attack, right? The first one is the jab here, right? Catches it. Now look at where Mayweather's head is, right? It's roughly over his front leg, his left knee, right? But when the second shot comes, Cotto's going to be shooting this shot roughly over Mayweather's right knee. See how far over it is? And look at the angle. That's because when Mayweather slips to get away from the jab on the front foot, that's where his head is going to wind up, is on the back foot. So Cotto, showing that he's a very, very smart fighter, and that he's spent enough time learning his technique, right? Figuring out how technique works, the way that you move in the ring, so that you can better understand how your opponent is going to move in the ring. Because if you're a limited fighter, I want to say this like flat out, if you're a limited fighter, you can't throw a right hand or a left hook, or you have a crappy jab, or you don't have, like, if there's some motion in the ring that you can't do, that's a motion that you're not going to be able to solve for your opponent. So if your opponent makes that motion a lot, you're going to have a much more difficult time figuring out how it is that they're doing it and figuring out ways that you can set traps to counter it. But if you know the body mechanics, right? Like Cotto knows that when you slip to the back foot, right? Or you slip the jab and you put your weight on the back foot, it's going to be over your back knee, right? So he attacks that zone. But Mayweather, being a very good fighter, actually probably anticipating that this is going to be a 1-2, so he wants to get his head off the front foot and onto the back foot and away from the right hand. He ducks the shot, right? And then pulls himself off the line. But Mayweather is Mayweather. This attack, if you did this to any one of your random sparring partners, boom, boom, you're very likely going to catch him with that jab. You could even throw the second shot, right, the right hand as well. But it's very, very, very intelligent body mechanics from Cotto. Now, the reason that this is so important, right, the reason that this is so important is because there have been very, very few fighters in Floyd Mayweather's career that have understood positioning as good as he does, right? And that means that Cotto is going to understand what position Mayweather is in each time Mayweather gets into a new position. And that's why he had so much more success against Mayweather when he would get him against the ropes, is because he understands the limitations of the body mechanics that Mayweather is representing, right? Whereas a lot of fighters who cannot do what Mayweather does, who can't move, who can't fight this way, or don't have the physical ability, they have a much more difficult time understanding what Mayweather is doing, so they don't know how to counter it, right? But anyway, so what happens? Mayweather gets feinted off the line. And by the way, Mayweather's probably not looking to attack here simply because he's looking to get a look at Cotto, right? Cotto does the right thing by not trying to bully his head over the line, right? So from this position, right, in order to threaten Mayweather, he needs to feint him, right, and get him out of position. So that's the only play that he has here. So he feints, but without crossing his head over the line, making sure that he stays safe, right? Because that's what he wants to do. He wants to do the same thing that Mayweather's going to do to him later, right? Which is safely cross his head over the line with feints and probes, or blocking, right? I don't know how to say that. Feints, probes, and blocks, right? Because if there's no punch comes, right? But all you want to show, right, is what Cotto's showing here when he gets on the front foot. See how he has his left glove, right? That shows that he's defending the position, right? Whereas here, right? Cotto feels pretty comfortable throwing punches at Mayweather because Mayweather's not actually defending them, right? He's ready to defend them, right? But he feels like he's open to take the shot or to swing just in case, right? Mayweather does not feel that on Cotto because Cotto has his guard up, right? When Cotto gets to the line, right? See how his hand is down? But as soon as he gets to the line, he starts bringing his hand up, keeping his active guard, changing positions, right? And throwing shots. But Mayweather's not seeing that same hole here, right? Because Cotto's fighting a very tight fight. Very, very disciplined, very tight, and aggressive as well. So what happens? Why does Mayweather all of a sudden think he's going to land this shot? Well, Cotto has this bad habit when he gets off the line of bouncing, right? So back, forward, and then Mayweather times him on the front foot. Now, this is something that Mayweather is notorious for. If you have bad habits in the ring, he's going to make you pay for it. And Mayweather actually basically wins this round off of those timings, right? So watch him get him off the line. Cotto, boom, gets hit. And what does Cotto do? He gets attacked again, and then he goes back to his bouncing, right? Mayweather gets him off the line again, bouncing. Mayweather attacks him again. Again, even though Cotto is looking here, bounce, to get back on the line, Mayweather still times him and says, okay, you weren't ready. You still weren't in the position that you were looking to get on the line with me from, right? So Cotto's crossing his head over from this side, right? As he's crossing the line, right? Notice Mayweather says, oh, I'm in position to just turn my shot over and attack you. Notice, Mayweather doesn't even really move, right? He's just on the line, and Cotto is bouncing, and all Mayweather does is roll his weight forward, right, to time Miguel Cotto crossing his line and then get off the line. This is a very, very, very important idea, right? Notice how much different this is, right? He gets his hand up, and then he crosses the line, and Mayweather attacks him, versus this one, right? Mayweather's waiting for the same thing, but Cotto approaches the line so much more patiently, right? He's not crossing it. He's not moving his feet. He's not circling Mayweather. He's taking really small, controlled steps, and then before he crosses the line, he gives Mayweather something to think about, right? He feints him, right? And then he knows Mayweather's going to slip and get off the line because, well, spoiler alert, Mayweather's already shown that that's what he's looking to do, right? He's already moving his head to that position. So Cotto is using that information to set up his next attack, right? Oh, yeah, body shot. Where does Mayweather's head go? Feinted. Where does Mayweather's head go, right? So he's using that information to set up his next attack, hoping to catch Mayweather. But Mayweather's a brilliant boxing genius and, But anyway, continues to attack Miguel Cotto, and then Miguel Cotto again gets on the line and starts crossing his head over, and Mayweather catches him. Now, this is another reason why this is such an important piece of information, that Mayweather is looking to attack Cotto every time he crosses his head over the line. That's going to discourage him from crossing his head over the line, right? That's going to block Cotto from crossing his head over to feint with his right hand, right? And that means that all of the times that Cotto looks to get into position to throw his left hand, and he's a left-handed fighter, he's going to have to cross Mayweather's line, again, just like this right here, because that's what he's looking to do, right? Throw jabs and then throw left hooks. See how he takes this long step and he takes it really, he's basically getting his left foot to the right side of Mayweather's head, and then he's looking to bring his head across that guard one time and then back as he throws his left hand, right? Just watch the motion of his head, right? Look where his head is on the inside, now it's on the outside, and then back on the inside. Kind of makes like a little swirly loop, right? I don't know how to explain it like without showing you guys, but you can see the direction that his head and his weight is going, and then how his weight comes back to his back leg here, right? He gives him the old Mayweather left hook. But that's exactly what that's exactly what Cotto's looking to do, right? Continue crossing his head over Mayweather's head so he can keep attacking him, right? But Mayweather wants to block that. Now, this is what boxing is. That essentially, these are all the rules of boxing, right? In one 30 seconds of boxing, right? You've already seen basically every rule, right? Feint before you change positions, right? Cotto wants to throw the right hand, but he doesn't want to cross his head over the line and change positions without threatening Mayweather first, right? So he has to feint. Even when he uses his weight transition just to throw a jab, right? Feint and then a long stabbing jab, right? He's still feinting before he crosses the line. And then when he doesn't, as you see here, he just crosses the line without feinting, brings his weight over, and Mayweather's able to catch him, right? But Mayweather wants to keep his head on that side because that's going to stop him from throwing right hands as well as throwing left hooks, right? And then Cotto wants to do the same thing. He doesn't want Mayweather getting his head to the other side of the line. Because from this position, Mayweather can throw really good crosses, really good left hooks, and straight right hands, and still use parts of his weight transfer and his kind of crouch in his guard to get away, right? So essentially, each of these people are looking to pin the other one down on the back foot and then give them a beating. That's essentially what boxing boils down to. Now, Mayweather doing a great job, right? This is brilliant defense here, right? So Cotto's coming forward. He's doing his little hop thing. He starts coming forward. He doesn't want to cross his head over the line, so he looks to feint, right? And get Mayweather off the line, right? So he's going to get Mayweather off of his line. Wow, feints him. Now, if Mayweather comes up on the line, Cotto's going to be ready for him with the right hand. He's going to be looking to land a shot. Actually, look at that. He's looking to land a left hook instead. So he feints him low, right? Feints him low, and then tries to catch him with the hook as he comes back. But Mayweather understands where his weight is, his own weight, Mayweather's own weight, and he understands where Cotto's weight is. So now, let's just watch Mayweather's weight go forward, back, and then when he gets feinted, right? So forward, back. Now his weight is going to go to his front foot, right? Now most of his weight is on his front foot, so he's going to use his front foot to evade an attack, right? So Cotto feints him, so he transfers his weight to the back foot and then crouches. Now, after this crouch, he takes this little step right here, right? To continue his weight transitions because he wants to, I don't want to say remain in motion, right? That's not the goal. It kind of is, but that's not really the goal. You just want to continue transitioning your weight just so that your head doesn't wind up in the same spot, right? So he takes a step there, right? And then as he comes up, he's going from the back foot to the front foot. So what does he do? He knows that Miguel Cotto's weight, right? So his weight is going from the back foot to the front foot. He knows Miguel Cotto's weight is going to the front foot as well, right? So Miguel Cotto is going to be bringing his weight from the front foot to the back foot. And how do you do that when you're close? You do that through the left hook. So Mayweather knows that when he's going from his back foot to his front foot and his opponent is going from the front foot to the back foot, that he's going to be throwing a left hook. So Mayweather, after getting into this position, right, forward, back, forward, he knows to get his left hand up to block that shot while he's going into Cotto's guard. Just understanding every position that he's going to wind up being, every position that Cotto can threaten him in because he knows where Cotto's weight is, right? And then goes to the front foot and then to the back foot, right? And then gets off the line. Just beautiful defense. Now look at this. One of the most interesting and important ideas here is Mayweather does not throw a single punch, right? But look at how many times he transitions his weight in front of his opponent, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 times. He could have thrown a punch with every single one of these weight transitions, right? So here, he could throw a hook or a cross, right? As Cotto's bringing his head into that position. Then as he comes up here, he could be throwing a right hand, right? And crossing his weight to the front foot. Then as he transfers his weight from the front foot to the back foot, he could be throwing another left hook right here. But he's focused only on using his weight transitions for defense, right? So he's able to not only get more information about his opponent, right, but not expose himself needlessly. You know why? Because of the fact that he's so good at this game right here. This is where Mayweather looks to get his edge, right? Timing you crossing the line. After you've already crossed the line and you've taken a position on him, he doesn't look to really engage or fight with you because you're already the one making him react. He already knows he's behind the 8 ball here, right? So you can look flashy and super fancy throwing punches there, But instead, he could just wait and steal the rounds by waiting for Cotto to put himself into a position where now he's bouncing, right? And he's getting attacked, right? Bouncing, getting attacked, bouncing, getting attacked, right? Where he's timing him because of the fact that Mayweather understands positioning as well as Cotto does. And again, Cotto's a left-handed fighter that fights right-handed. So he's had to teach himself how to throw a right hand. He's had to teach himself the best ways to pivot and to transfer his weight. He's had to learn this stuff so he knows how it works on both sides, right? Just like Mayweather, who's right-handed, but taught himself how to do it left-handed, right? Taught himself how to do the left side of his body, even though he's only doing it from the right side, right? Or the right-handed position. Now again, the whole goal, right? Cotto wants to get on the line and then cross his weight over so he can attack Mayweather, right? And Mayweather wants to use his jab to block that motion. Now again, look at this feint. Look at the positioning that Mayweather's in when that feint comes, right? He's transferring his weight from the back foot to the front foot, and Cotto's going from the back foot to the front foot as well. And see how he feints him here as he crosses? See the position of their heads here? This position where your head is here, if you stick your lead hand out, this is the position where you're going to be landing a jab or just turning that shot over. This is very, very, very difficult position to defend a jab from once you get in front of your opponent, right? So Mayweather knows, and as Cotto looks to get on the line with him here, Mayweather gets off the line and transfers his weight to the back foot, right? Because he knows that that's a very difficult and risky challenge for him to overcome, right? And why does he need to overcome that risk when he's so good at stuff like this, right? Again, now Cotto's going to come put the pressure on him, feint. Oh, I didn't actually talk about the most important thing, right? When I was talking about this motion here, or this little exchange here. Mayweather does all this without throwing any punches, right? This is the value of being able to get on and off the line without punching, right? Whereas you have fighters, I know I shouldn't be putting Mikey Garcia out on blast like this, but you have fighters like Mikey Garcia who cannot get on and off the line without punching, right? What does that mean? You can't get on and off the line without punching. That means that you expect your opponent to be doing all the getting on and off of the line, right? And in order to do that, you have to be the one with the power punches, right? So because everyone's afraid of getting decked by Mikey Garcia, they come in off the line, and he's more easily able to control their line, right? Because of his power, he has kind of a quote-unquote natural advantage, kind of, right? Whereas Mayweather, he doesn't have all that much power. He has good power, right? But he doesn't rely on getting on and off the line with you by how do I say this? He doesn't have to worry about you. He can fight you when you get on the line with him, right? I don't know how to say that. I hope it makes sense through the rest of the analogy, but Mayweather can do that work himself, right? He doesn't have to just scare you enough that he's going to land a hard right hand to make you want to get off the line with him as fast as possible, right? He's capable of getting off the line as fast as possible when he wants to, right? So the biggest idea here is the way that you control space between you and your opponent, right? And Mayweather shows that he can do that, right, with head movement, simply feinting, right, these shoulder feints, right, getting on the line, threatening a position here, right? And even though Cotto's the one coming forward, right, Cotto doesn't throw any punches here either, right? Feint, right? Look at how many times Cotto transfers his weight in front of Mayweather, right? Forward, back, transfers his weight here. Now he's going to go from the back foot to the front foot. No punch still, right? That was just a feint so that he could try to line up the left hook, right? But 3 weight transitions before he even throws a punch, right? Whereas fighters who can only punch to get on the line, someone like Errol Spence comes to mind, right? He doesn't get on the line and feint. Sometimes he feints, right? But he doesn't get on the line and use head movement, right? He always has to be punching or feinting a punch, right? But this is a very, very valuable tool, being able to feint and probe and to control your weight without punching, right? And again, Cotto getting caught on the line, setting a trap there for that attack, right? But doing the same kind of motion, right? He knows how Mayweather's going to get off the line, looks to feint and set that left hook up, right? And just on that idea, right? Make two punches sound like one, right? That's a technical idea, not a strategical one, right? I don't want you guys to think it's a strategical one. I want you to think about it as a technical one. It's a technique thing. And Cotto's going to do it right here, right? 1, 2, right? Even though he throws the same punch, from a technical aspect, when I talk about it on the Patreon videos, by the way, guys, check out my Patreon. I'm going to be doing a lot of Patreon content, a lot of videos, a lot of long-form boxing stuff like this. So if you guys are interested and you're enjoying this, there's going to be a lot more on there for my patrons. I still will be doing more recent fights, I think, on my $1 Patreon for the more contemporary stuff. But the older stuff is going to be under the $10 Fight Fan stuff. You'll be getting kind of access to the same content and training and drill videos that other fighters are getting, but you also get the long-form training videos where I talk about this strategy to more put together those drill concepts, right? Because I realize without actually talking about what you're doing in the fights, right, it gets a little more difficult to talk about the technique because you don't see the technique, right? So anyway, Miguel Cotto coming forward, right? Feint with that jab. And that jab right there is only to put him into position to throw this left hook. That's it, right? That jab is only to put him into that position. Very similar to Wilder, right? But notice, Wilder only does that with his right hand, right? Whereas Cotto here is doing it with his left hook. Now, again, Cotto says, okay, when I come in, I feint, right? Look at how he crosses the line here, right? So look at the positions of their heads. He feints here. Now look at how he dips his head to the inside, right? So his head has crossed the line, and now Mayweather says, oh, I'm out of position, right? Because from this position, Cotto could have thrown a right hand as he crossed the line, or he can throw a left hook. So Mayweather just knows that because Cotto is on the front foot, he could throw any punch he wants. Mayweather can't defend all of the punches, right? So if he tries to block one, and that one's the feint, then he's going to get knocked out by the next one. So he knows he's got to get off the line, right? So he gets off the line, and then look at how he wraps his left arm around Cotto's right glove, and then he wraps his head around Cotto's left glove, right? Trying to block and pin those arms down, right? Now this is another really interesting thing that Mayweather does. When he's fighting on the inside, look at where Cotto's weight is, right? Cotto's weight is on the front foot, and Mayweather's weight is on the back foot, right? Their weights are coming together, but essentially, they are in the same position here, right? They're in the same position, right? But if you were thinking about it like Cotto is pushing Mayweather back, right? That's what it looks like. It looks good for Mayweather. But what Mayweather's actually doing is he's pulling his weight back because he wants his weight back. He's pulling his weight back so he can control Miguel Cotto's right arm, right? And presumably, if Miguel Cotto can't transfer his weight to his back leg, he won't have any power in his left hand. So all Mayweather has to do is continue controlling Miguel Cotto's right side, pulling it to the left side of his body, and then Mayweather, he can transfer his weight anytime he wants to from his right side to his left side because he's controlling Miguel Cotto's weight, right? So if he wanted to, he could create some space and throw a hard shot, right? So even though that position looks kind of neutral and it looks like maybe Miguel Cotto could be winning if he's pushing through enough, Miguel Cotto is in a super disadvantageous position there, even though the position is mirrored. If Miguel Cotto was pulling Mayweather back on his front foot, so he could be on his back foot, he'd have the positional advantage. But because Miguel Cotto has probably never fought anyone who's done that to him before, he doesn't understand what's going on. He probably has no idea what's happening. So now, again, Miguel Cotto bouncing, and decides to meet Mayweather on the line. But look at where Mayweather is, right? He's nearly on the front foot where he's in a position where he can transfer his weight to the back foot. And Miguel Cotto is moving. He's not coming forward, right? He's circling Mayweather. So his weight is going left to right. So he's going to be crossing Mayweather's line any second. So what does he do? He looks to take a look at Mayweather and then bring his weight back. But Mayweather catches him before he's able to cross his weight over Mayweather's line and then cross his weight back, right? So just watch Cotto's head, right? Forward. So he's going to put his weight on the front foot, right? And as he's putting his weight on his front foot, his head gets as close as it will get to Mayweather. Mayweather's able to sneak that shot in, right? So this this essentially, again, is what Mayweather's looking to do, right? As Cotto comes forward, he's looking to block that weight transfer, right? Now what Cotto's likely going to do is try to say, okay, well, what I have to do from this position, I have to approach the line in position 2, right? Farther off the line, and look to control Mayweather's lead hand. Well, he looks to stab a jab to the body. Actually, a better idea than what I was saying. So jab into the body instead. Mayweather says, yeah, buddy, I can do that too. But let's take a look at the mechanics of this shot, right? So when he takes this shot, this jab, right, he brings his head all the way down, right? So he's essentially slipping his weight to the back leg, right? So he stabs with his weight there, and then as he comes up, his weight comes up on the back foot. You can't really tell because he's hopping in the camera angle, but Mayweather does the exact same thing. So let's just watch Mayweather's technique when he does it, right? Forward, back, right? Now Mayweather, forward, and then back, right? Brings his weight all the way to the back foot, right? So that's just transferring your weight from one foot to the other as you punch, right? Really simple technique, and arguably the most important that you could learn in boxing is transferring your weight. Anyway, Miguel Cotto says, okay, well, I don't want to get on the... Why did it go so far back here? So Miguel Cotto saying, okay, well, I don't want to get on the line with him and let him jab me, so I'll keep attacking him off the line. And Mayweather says, okay, I know what you're doing, and looks to control and catch those jabs, right? Again, getting caught right there because Mayweather's, again, he's going forward, getting his weight on the front foot, then to the back foot, the front foot, right? And he's trying, look at how his head is kind of snaking back and forth, Miguel Cotto's head. He's looking to test Mayweather, right? These angles, these little tiny angles, right? He's looking to test Mayweather. Mayweather's not looking to give his position up at all, right? So Mayweather, look at how Mayweather starts dipping his weight onto the front foot, right? This, getting his weight here, this is how he gets all the power into his left hand. Because he's going to be exploding his weight out that way onto the front foot, right? And then back, right? But that's what he's looking to do. Now, he doesn't actually have to step with this shot. He doesn't actually have to step with this shot. He could probably just let it go. But he needs to first, right, make two punches sound like one, right? I talk about this, a few times. But that's what he's doing here, right, with this step, right? Boom. It's essentially two weight transitions. So this first one should be setting up the right hand. But he's using this idea to throw a hard shot instead of a feint, right? Because instead, he's doing it, boom, and then the second weight transition, right? Usually the first one is the feint, right? But the second one is get off the line now. So the first one's an attack, right? Boom, boom, right? The first one's the attack. But essentially, it's the same theory, right? Make two punches sound like one. Make two weight transitions as fast or as quick as you can, right? And that's gonna set up your punches. That's gonna set up your other weight transitions. But the idea essentially comes down to make sure that when you throw your left, you don't prevent yourself from throwing a right. Make sure when you throw a right, you don't prevent yourself from throwing a left, right? But I know that's probably going to be a weird concept, and I'm not sure if you guys are going to understand what I mean when I'm saying this. So don't worry about it too much. But anyway, Mayweather finding a way to get back on the line with him, right, and shoot off, right? And again, Cotto circling, right? He's not pressing Mayweather, right? And Mayweather's able to do actually the same thing, circling him, right? Approaching the line in this position, right? So he approaches the line in this position. Cotto says, okay, I can block his punches from that position, right? So he's mostly on the back foot. So Mayweather says, okay, he can block all my punches here, so I have to get into a new position. So taking the step, transitioning his weight, right? And now because his head is in a new position, he can throw new punches, right? Or attack different angles, right? So all he has to do is wait for Miguel Cotto to meet him on the line and then throw that shot. So he takes this position, right? And then Miguel Cotto, once he's on the front foot, Miguel Cotto starts transferring his weight, right? And he's just about to start transferring his weight from the back foot to the front foot, and he winds up doing it into Mayweather's jab. Now, again, watch Miguel Cotto's weight, right? He's on the back foot right now, stepping to the front foot. And then again, Mayweather catches him with the same exact punch. So let's just watch that sequence again, right? The same exact punch, but it looks a little different in real time, right? Again, back forward, back forward, back forward, into that shot, back forward, into that shot, back forward, right? And then gets feinted, right? And what Mayweather's doing here by catching him with this punch over and over again, he's going to limit the positions that Miguel Cotto feels comfortable getting on the line with him. Because now Cotto knows that he's not even safe approaching the line here. Remember when he was safe approaching the line there in this sequence, right? So he comes to the line in basically the same position, right? And Mayweather lets him on the line, right? But Mayweather has a way better position against him here. Look at how much more aggressive he is with it on the front foot, right? But he's just waiting, figuring out where Cotto's going to look to attack, what kind of attacks he's going to look to throw. And Mayweather, again, doing a great job of keeping him off the line. I don't remember where we were, so we'll just keep going. Oh, that's that hook. Oh, and then here it is. Mayweather attacking him with that jab, isolating his position, right? Slowing the fight down enough, isolating his position, trying to figure out how to get Cotto on the back foot so that, ooh, now beautiful work, you guys. This is great. So check that out, right? After Cotto shoots that feint, right, and tries to catch Mayweather, he goes back to his bouncing, and Mayweather shoots a right hand at him, right? So what's going to happen after he bounces here, and then that jab comes, right? Well, he's going to start bouncing again, right? And look at that. Mayweather stays close and anticipates the bouncing, right? And goes in for an overhand right to land on him, right? Thinking that he's going to catch him when his hands are down like this, right? Thinking he's going to catch him on that first bounce on the back foot, right? Front, back, right? And then tries to time him. Miguel Cotto notices that Mayweather doesn't go away after that shot, so he looks to counter him as well. But just really brilliant boxing from Mayweather, right? Oh, you gonna bounce, fool? Okay, you gonna bounce, fool? Oh, what's up? Right? And then again, beautiful work, right? Mayweather getting just enough weight into his shot that he can still crouch and pivot and get off the line, right? Really, really good technique. And again, this comes from understanding your positions, right? And Mayweather, even though Miguel Cotto, look at this. Miguel Cotto doesn't do anything after that shot, right? And look at how many times Mayweather changes his position, his weight, and anticipates his head, right? Like, look at do, right? That's because he knew he was going to do this from here, right? Mayweather planned all of this out, this moment right here. He said, okay, I'm going to shoot him with the jab to the body, and then if he doesn't counter, if he goes back to that bouncing, I'm going to look to shoot a right hand right into his face, right? And then get off the line. Boom, boom, get off the line, right? He knew he was going to do that, so he's setting up these weight transitions in advance. And that's one of the reasons why Mayweather never gets stuck on the line with anybody. Why you never see him really take big shots or take multiple punches is because he doesn't stay on the line with his opponents. Now, beautiful work, again, Mayweather front foot, front foot, right? Now he's on the front foot, he's going to transfer his weight to the back foot, pull away from that shot, and then look at what's coming next, probably the right hand. So Mayweather ducks it and gets under it. Now, Cotto uses that same technique, right? Make two punches sound like one, put himself into position to throw the next shot, and his shot's going to be a left hook instead of a right hand, right? Pop, hook. But Mayweather's still able to get off of the line that Miguel Cotto's looking to create and attack, right? And then beautiful work from Mayweather on the inside. Look at how he's got him right here, right? Again, that underhook, he's pulling Cotto to the back foot, right? And pulling him over his own front foot, right? And then because Miguel Cotto's over the front foot and he's on the back foot, he can transfer his weight into that uppercut, right? And then continue transferring his weight to get off the line. Really, really high-level stuff here. And again, Miguel Cotto doesn't even realize that he's going to have to go through 12 rounds of this, right? 12 rounds of this wrestling and this inside work here. And that's going to stop him from ever wanting to clinch with Mayweather because Mayweather's going to have control of the clinching. And that's going to give Mayweather, presumably a natural advantage because of his technical advantage, right? His speed and his, he doesn't have that much power. Probably just because he keeps his hands too tight in his gloves. I don't know. Just poor punch technique. Overall, not for your standard fighter, but, for the best ever, a little bit bad punch technique for that. And that's just because he doesn't have the most power. But anyway, Mayweather getting feinted forward, right? Getting on the front foot, Cotto's about to get to the front foot as well, so Mayweather knows that's the most likely time for him to attack. So he comes forward. He meets him, catch that shot, right? And then Cotto says, okay, make 2 punches sound like 1, right? So Cotto comes in, flashes the lead hand, throws the right hand. But Mayweather makes 2 punches sound like 1 as well, right? So he's going to come in. Now imagine this. That's Mayweather throwing a right hand and then throwing a left hook, right? His weight is going to go from the back foot to the front foot, and then he does that catching. That's him throwing a right hand, right? And then he goes from the front foot to the back foot. That's him throwing a left hook. So look at this idea, right? Both of these fighters are essentially taking Mike Tyson's make 2 punches sound like 1 technical theory, right? Or in his mind, he says it like it's punches, but it's not really punches, right? It's like a riddle from Customato, right? Make 2 punches sound like 1. Make 2 punches sound like 1. You want to practice that over and over again because that's going to make this, right, catch and block your weight transfer with this punch, because when you throw this shot, you're ending your weight transfer, right? Boom, boom. It's going to make these motions so much more seamless, right? Like Miguel Cotto, right? So boom, boom, right? Now in my videos, I talk a lot about transferring your weight and making sure you transfer your weight in each shot, right? So in theory, if Miguel Cotto was throwing a real left hook here, he would go from his front foot to his back foot with this shot, right? But he's not looking to do that. He's not looking to throw a hook and transfer his weight all the way to the back foot, right? Remember? So this little feint right here, even though it's a little feinting jab hook thing, right? After you throw this shot, you want your weight at the end of that engagement to end on your back foot. But because he doesn't want the engagement to end there, he wants it to end here. He wants to transition his weight to the front foot still. Now Mayweather, right? And that's the epitome of like the make 2 punches sound like 1, right? Tap, tap. Mayweather does the same thing, right? So again, if this was a right hand, pop, right? If he were throwing that as a punch, this would be the end of his weight transition. Now the next goal is to get his weight to the back foot, right? To get away from this shot. Now, Mayweather could be slipping to the other side, right? He could be slipping to the other side and countering, coming back with the shot. But again, Mayweather doesn't always like to counter, even though people think about him as like the counter puncher. He's really just insanely good on the line for the most part, with him being able to pick off shots, allow you to work just enough to get tired so he can beat you up in the later rounds, right? But that's all he's really looking to do here. Allow Miguel Cotto to work. And again, look at this positioning, right? Gets under that shot, brings his head up, uses his head to pin that glove to him, right? Gets his arm around his body. And now look at Miguel Cotto. He's stuck on the front foot, and he thinks he's safe because his head is buried in his neck, right? But again, this is a neutral position, right? Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather has this opening to throw this big shot because he's on the outside of Cotto, right? Because of where his head is. He has the better positioning to throw punches from that side, right? It's just, he's dominating him. And then look at this. Beautiful work. As soon as he starts pulling him, opening him, he knows how this position ends. As soon as he loses that side from Cotto, right? He catches him with the left hook. Boom, boom. Now again, make 2 punches sound like 1, right? Bop, bop, right? The same exact thing, right? Feint him with the left, boom, and then open him up with the right, right? Make 2 punches sound like 1. It winds up being, again, the same thing. Tap, tap, right? Great work from Mayweather. Now, I don't remember what I was talking about over here, but I know I wasn't done with it. Again, just the brilliance of Mayweather. Again, Cotto following him around, getting walked into a shot, and Mayweather looking to attack him when he gets on the line with him, right? Look at Mayweather getting more and more comfortable in front of Cotto because Miguel Cotto is keeping his head on one side of the line, right? Mayweather is able to isolate him and stop him from feinting left hooks and feinting right hands. So from this position, Miguel Cotto can basically only throw the jab, right? And if he opens himself up and tries to cross Mayweather's line to start feinting and probing and throwing right hands or left hooks, Mayweather starts catching him, right? Now look at this beautiful work from Mayweather. This is so smart, right? Why is Mayweather going to go this way, right? Right? See how he moves this way? But his head moves over to the other side of Miguel Cotto's head, right? See how, let's just watch it a little bit in slow-mo. See the position? Mayweather is on Cotto's left side right now. Now when he takes this step, his head gets on the right side. And look at immediately how Cotto's head follows him, right? And now Mayweather is on the other side of Cotto's head. So this is Cotto cutting the ring off, right? So again, Mayweather has already crossed over Cotto's weight, right? But Cotto says, I don't want you on that side because now you can escape. So he has to cut the ring off by getting his head on the other side of Mayweather's head, right? So Mayweather's weight can only go that way without crossing into Cotto's punch, right? So Mayweather again fakes this way. He fakes going this way and then immediately comes back this way, right? Controlling Cotto and creating space, right? So where he was going to meet Cotto on Cotto's terms, because Cotto starts transitioning his weight that way, now look at how far away Cotto is. Mayweather can set up a new line, right? Mayweather can set up a new line and be the one to control when he gets on the line with Cotto, right? Now he has this, now look at the position that he's in, right? He's on the front foot, he has access to more punches than Cotto, and Cotto has to approach the line in his guard, right? Now, he's picked up on the timing when Mayweather's going to attack him. He's able to get off the line and slip to the inside, right? Not throw a punch, but look at Mayweather, genius. Controls Cotto's head, right? So he misses that shot. Cotto can only slip to that side, right? Because he's so far away. He has been having a lot of trouble getting his head across the line already, let alone from that distance, right? And Mayweather just immediately smothers him and gets his forearm on Miguel Cotto's head. Now, again, crossing your head over your opponent's guard to attack them is one of the most fundamental key aspects of combat, right? So Mayweather blocks that weight transition, controls Miguel Cotto's head and holds his weight on that side, and that stops Miguel Cotto, right? Look at Miguel Cotto's struggle, right? Look at him kind of flail away, right? Because he knows that he has no control over his head. So he can't control any of where he's going, let alone what punches he's throwing. He can't throw a left hook here because if he stops putting pressure on his left leg and then allows it to go all to his right to throw the left hook, he's going to be off of balance, right? So look at when Mayweather lets go of his head and look at how he flails and stumbles because all of a sudden there's no weight on him, right? Now, I don't know a lot about wrestling. I didn't do any wrestling, but anybody who's done wrestling is going to be very familiar with these ideas, right? And that's essentially all you're doing, right? When you're on the inside, right, you control your opponent physically and manipulate their head. When you're on the outside, you control them mentally with feinting and probing. It's still physically, right? But you're doing it with the threat of this position. And again, anyone who's done wrestling will understand that too, right? You can't allow them to get into this position, right? Because if they get in that position, it opens up all these extra avenues. And if they can trick you into taking one of those avenues, they can beat you, right? By getting you with a new one, right? A different tree of attacks, right? Now, Mayweather, approaching him, knows that Cotto's going to get him on the line, so he gets in this very dominant position, right? And this is Mayweather feinting Cotto, right? Feinting him and forcing Cotto to make a move, right? Because of the fact that Mayweather gets this really aggressive stance, and now he gets himself into a position where, Mayweather usually attacks, so he gets off the line and tries to attack as well, right? But Mayweather, being a very smart fighter, not being Mikey Garcia, right, knows that he doesn't have to get on the line with a jab or a hook, right? So how does he get on the line? Well, he simply slips and gets off the line and then smothers Miguel Cotto. Oh, look at Miguel Cotto catching on right there, right? Whoop, comes on. And look at how Miguel Cotto naturally comes up in this zone right here. But look at that. He gives it away. He gives it away because he thinks he can throw left hooks here, right? But he doesn't realize that because Mayweather has this left hook over here, Mayweather has control of all of his weight. So only Mayweather will be able to throw punches, right? Miguel Cotto should have kept this arm right here and kept controlling Mayweather so he could create space and throw punches with his right arm. Because with his right arm and controlling Mayweather, he'd be able to land some good shots to the body, I think, even though Mayweather has the underhook, right? But he gives it up, and now he has no ability to throw shots, and he can only take punches. Again, Mayweather controlling that weight, and then when Mayweather loses it, he gets the underhook on the other side, right? But Mayweather doing a very good job of controlling and manipulating his opponent's arms on the inside to make sure that he can fight out of the position that he wants, right? What position does Mayweather want to fight on the inside, right? He wants this underhook, and he wants your head right there on his shoulder, right? So he can kind of bat it around, he can lift up with his arm, he can kind of manhandle you, he can use his weight, right? But by putting your head on his shoulder right there, you allow him to use his shoulder and his left side to manipulate your head, right? And your head is what controls where all your punches are going, right? Well, if you have any power in those shots anyway. But anyway, again, Mayweather meets him on the line, right, in a very dominant position on the front foot, right? And he's able to attack him. And Miguel Cotto, how does Miguel Cotto defend this position, right? What if it winds up being a feint, like a probe into a right hand, right? Miguel Cotto doesn't even get to figure that out. He just has to stay in his high guard and say, okay, I just got to block this, right, and hope I block it because I don't want to open myself up for a left hook or a right hand. Especially because if he starts catching the jab from this position, Mayweather is notorious from getting on that front foot here and then throwing a left hook, right? Because this is his exact same position, right? Now again, this is what Miguel Cotto is trying to accomplish against Mayweather. But he hasn't figured out how to do it. Whereas Mayweather has accomplished exactly what Miguel Cotto is trying to do to him, but Miguel Cotto hasn't even figured it out yet. He doesn't even realize that Mayweather has all the control. Even though Miguel Cotto is getting on the inside, even though Miguel Cotto is able to, start touching him with some gloves, Mayweather has all of the actionable points and the opportunities to create offense that Miguel Cotto is looking for. Now, for any of you that are on my Patreon, there's a round in I think it's round 6 in Mayweather versus, or maybe round 5, the end of round 5, where Zab Judah does this against Mayweather, right? Look at him coming forward, top, right? He's trying to summon Megazord, right? Look at him, dun, 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 right? He's like putting his hands up this way, trying to give him different looks. And look at the way that Mayweather responds, right? He says, oh, I'm getting feinted, right? He knows that he needs to get off the line, right? And this might not look like a lot of stuff that's going on, or it might not look like real boxing, you guys. But this is boxing at its highest level. And I made a comment. I made actually like a whole long video. Someone kind of scrutinized me for making a highlight video, not a highlight, but a tribute to Zab Judah using the fight that was like the worst fight of his career. But it was actually to kind of talk about how him losing that fight was the worst thing that could have ever happened to him. Not because of how it happened, but because of the fact that it changed the way that he fundamentally looked at combat. Right? Because he had his hands down, he was doing this and that and whatever. He was goofing. What he was really doing is finding comfortable ways to manipulate and attack positions, right? And feint, right? Because he had his guard down, he could transition his weight easier, right? It was easier for him to do that, right? By the time he had gotten to the Mayweather fight, he could do that by bringing his hands up here, very Lomachenko-like, right? This is how Lomachenko fights, right? He's a little tighter with his hands in, but his hands are always up in these positions, right? And this is what Zab Judah was doing against Mayweather, and it was actually the biggest turning point for all of boxing for me, right? Because here he was punching the greatest fighter of all time. A lot of people think that, punching him in the face. He was landing punches against him because of this little technique, this feinting, this little unorthodox style, these transitions. All the commentators were saying, oh, this doesn't mean anything. He's not doing anything. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's just kind of whatever. And they all downplayed it. But they're downplaying something that had a very valuable piece of data attached to it, right? If somebody told me that this was all I had to do and I would get to punch Mayweather in the face, right? And be a legend like Errol Spence. Oh, he gave him a... Someone gave someone who fights, who gets in the ring and lets people throw punches at him, every day of his life. Someone punched that guy in the face and gave him a black eye. And that's a legend. He's a legend for that now. For what? He gave someone who fights all the time a black eye? Why doesn't someone who fights get black eyes all the time? Well, because it's Mayweather. And Cotto, right, is able to feint and manipulate Mayweather's positioning simply by putting more pressure on with this funny, goofy stuff. And that's what Zab Judah does in the 5th round of that fight, and it allows him to win the rest of that minute of the fight, He dominates Mayweather's ability to. He dominates Mayweather's ability to make the fight predictable, right? Because from the outside, right, this Mayweather says, okay, I don't want to engage. What am I going to do? I'm just going to let him throw shots at me and then tie him up, right? Get on the inside, tie him up, catch him with an uppercut on the inside. Again, because he's on the back foot, right? His weight's on the back foot. And then he can throw an easy, hard shot, right? Because that's where his weight is. And Cotto's weight is on the front foot, right? So not only is Cotto having a very difficult time setting his punches up on the outside, he's getting beat up on the inside. And anytime Mayweather actually does engage him, right? Come on, Mayweather, punch this fool in the face so I can make my point. When he does engage him on the line, for the most part, we've been able to see him taking those opportunities away, right, and landing good shots, right? Meeting Cotto on the line. So they're, right, meeting him on the line with that shot, right? So Cotto's not landing punches when Mayweather's punching him. Cotto's not landing punches when Cotto's punching. And Cotto's not landing punches when they're tied up. Mayweather is landing punches in all of those instances, right? So Mayweather is actually dominating Cotto. In spite of the fact that it looks like a really close round, this is a blowout. Cotto is getting absolutely dominated. It's like he's not been in any of these positions in his fighting career ever before. Even though Cotto is still making it look competitive, right? Even though it's still looking competitive, when Mayweather wants to, he's able to land shots like this. Now, I don't remember where I was going with that. I apologize. So we're going to keep moving on. But it's just a fantastic performance from Mayweather. And again, right, working him on the inside, right? Controlling his weight, controlling where he is. Not only is Mayweather like controlling all of Cotto's weight here, right? He's eating up the clock. He's not taking any damage, right? And he's slowly dwindling down the opportunities that Cotto's going to have to throw punches at him. Now again, Mayweather getting on the front foot, he can throw any punch, right? So he feints him like he's throwing a right hand, gets him to duck down away from the right hand, and then catches him with the left hook instead, right? Just beautiful boxing. And because of the fact that Cotto is not controlling the space, right? Because Cotto doesn't want to put his lead hand out there to control Mayweather's lead hand, because Mayweather's going to catch him with the jab the second he gets to the line in this position, and this is the position that Cotto is looking to get into, right? He's looking to get his head just to the left of Mayweather's head, right? Or just to the right of Mayweather's head so he can start throwing punches, right? But he's not approaching this position with multiple positions, right? So he's making it very easy for Mayweather to predict where the next position that he'll be in, right? So if he's as far on the front foot as he wants to get, when Mayweather feints him, he only has one place to go, and that's towards the back foot. So Mayweather's able to feint him and walk him into that uppercut right there, simply because of the fact that he knows where Cotto is going, right? So Cotto, front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot, feinted, all the way to back foot into an attack, right? And he's not able to land any follow-up shots on Mayweather, right? Because not only has Mayweather been practicing this, think about this position right here. Right here. Think about this position right here as being, or this one right here, as being the same one as Mayweather being on the inside, right? Because this is Mayweather's craft, right? Not only is he saying, okay, I'm going to get on the front foot. I've done this many times. I'm going to feint. I've done this many times. I'm going to throw this uppercut. I've done this many times. And then he gets off the line, right? And when he gets off the line, boom, look at his head positioning, right? He controls Cotto with this hook and throws his weight that way as he exits this way. But he knows he's going to do all of this stuff, right? He knows he's going to do all of this stuff because he's done it before. That means that essentially that motion right there, all of that stuff that he's baiting Cotto into and looking to do is the same as this, him fighting on the inside, right? Think about that idea and as far as it relates to craft, right? See how he's manually manipulating Cotto into putting his weight here? Well, that's exactly what he's doing here. He's manipulating Cotto into putting his weight here so he can attack him, right? And now he knows where his weight is most likely going to come. Now, in my opinion, I think Mayweather was expecting a right hand, because that's most likely what someone's going to be throwing, a right hand, so he can get off the line and get away from it. But Miguel Cotto, I think, surprises him with that left hook because Miguel Cotto's a left-handed fighter. But the rest of this plays out exactly like Mayweather thought, right? I think it plays out exactly like he thought, and he's able to get off the line. And all Mayweather is going to look to do is do this over and over again, right? Again, this is the same thing as when he was, right, jabbing right here, right? Get on the line, off the line, right? He gets on the front foot, right? Now his weight's already there. Now he can just stab with his jab and then pull his weight back, right? But he's not leaning into his jab. You don't want to think about that because his weight is already on the front foot. The weight transition just winds up being make two punches sound like one. That kind of style, right? Tap, tap, right? Because if he were to shoot the shot here, he could shoot a right hand, right? And instead of bringing his weight backwards, right, this way, he could bring his weight forward, right, tap, and then bring his weight forward into a right hand against Cotto, right? And then simply adding a weight transition, right? And it looks exactly the same. Tap, tap, right? Boom, boom. Get on the line with your opponent, get your attack, and get off, right? But anyway, so much of the fight looks choreographed like this, right? Mayweather's made that motion so many times, made this motion so many times in his career. This is all stuff that he's practiced and done many, 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 many times. You know, Mayweather, a master of craft. Look at this, right? Miguel Cotto's trying to follow him, right? So he gets his head this way, and Cotto's shuffling, right? So Mayweather transfers his weight this way when Cotto brings his head to his front foot, right? And now Miguel Cotto brings his weight back to his back foot, right? And Mayweather starts circling out this way, right? Manipulating Miguel Cotto's weight, right? Again, Miguel Cotto has to follow his head, right? So he starts bringing his head this way, and he shuffles his weight to the front foot. Mayweather moves his head off the line and crosses Miguel Cotto's line. Now Miguel Cotto brings his head back to this line, right? Back this way. Why does he do that? In spite of the fact that he has a really aggressive position here, right? He's on the front foot. He could throw left hooks. He could throw right hands. He knows that Mayweather could shoot a straight right hand from this position too as he crosses his weight back across the line, right? So he knows that it's a very dangerous position for him to be in as well, especially because he hasn't isolated Mayweather's position. He didn't take this position because he won that position. He didn't take that position like Mayweather's been doing here, right? He didn't take that position here because he won it, because he's beaten Mayweather boxing, right? So he doesn't know what's going to happen when he's on the line here, right? He doesn't have any data. So he doesn't want to stay here, right? He's like, oh, this is very dangerous. If I throw punches from here when he's on the front foot, maybe he's already crafted a game plan to attack me. Maybe he's going to knock me out. And Mayweather, he's not looking to throw punches anyway. He's against the ropes. His positioning is already limited. So all he's looking to do is create space, right? And run the clock, right? I don't want to say run the clock, but limit the amount of opportunities that Cotto has to attack him, right? By controlling him and blocking his weight transfers, right? So the lower the amount of times that Miguel Cotto can cross his weight over the line against Mayweather, the lower the amount of times he'll be able to attack him, right? That's a very, very, very important idea, right? Now again, how does Cotto know that he's going to be able to tap, 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 right, and land those shots? Well, he knows where Mayweather's weight is when he's on the back foot, right? So Mayweather tries to use that Philly shell, right, which is not a real thing, you guys. Anyone who's interested in knowing what the Philly shell is, it just means you're fighting with all your weight on the back foot. It's nothing special, right? And Miguel Cotto can do it if he wanted to, but Miguel Cotto's actually a good fighter, right? And he's, not that Mayweather's not, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Cotto's actually a good fighter, so he fights on the front foot. He looks to put pressure on his opponents. Mayweather's a better fighter, right? So he's more able to understand the position and understand how important it is to stop your opponent from getting on the front foot, right? That's something that he continues to do to Cotto and stop Cotto from doing to him. So Cotto looks to get in position, right? Ow. Come forward, feint, feint, right? And again, he's not Mikey Garcia. So he's getting on the line, right? With feints, with head movement, right? By slipping. And then coming back to the line, controlling Mayweather, saying, hey, stay there so I can start throwing my right hands. And lands a great right hand there, right? boom. Again, make 2 punches sound like 1, right? Get into position, so where you only have to turn your shot over, and he's able to stuff that right hand in there, right? Really great work. But he knows that from this position, Mayweather can't bring his head anywhere. He can't go anywhere, right? So he's able to kind of touch him up with those shots. Now, great work after Mayweather does, right? He does what he always does. So now Cotto committing to that right hand, right? Getting his weight all the way to the front foot. Now Mayweather's on the back foot, right? What's the natural position here, right? So now, real quick, just to talk a little bit about boxing technique and goals, right? Cotto commits to that right hand before Mayweather gets all the way on the back foot, right? And that's why he doesn't get the maximum amount of power in it, right? Tap, tap, and then Mayweather starts pulling away from this one, even though he kind of gets touched a little bit, but he's pulling away, right? And now Cotto is all the way on the front foot and Mayweather's all the way on the back foot. Now, if Cotto takes his weight from the front foot and goes to the back foot, and Mayweather goes from the back foot and goes to the front foot, they're going to be in mirrored positions, right? This position will be the exact mirror, right? Except Mayweather be on the front foot and Cotto will be on the back foot. So Mayweather looks to set that up by following Cotto to the back foot with his right hand, right? Beautiful boxing, you guys. This is how boxing works, right? Even though he gets caught with a shot right there, right? He knows there are more weight transfers to come and continues on to the fight, attacking what he knows is going to be Miguel Cotto's next position on the back foot. But Cotto continues moving back and just narrowly gets away from that shot, right? Really good work. Now, after Mayweather shoots that shot, right, he ducks and gets off the line. And look at Miguel Cotto. Because he has beautiful technique himself, he's a master boxer. Miguel Cotto is legit one of the most underrated fighters of our generation, right? Who's he lost to? Well, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and Canelo Alvarez disputedly, right? Not everyone thinks he lost to Canelo, you know. And I didn't really score the fight, to be honest. Usually I don't really care. The only reason I care who wins the fight anymore is because I say so on my YouTube channel. If I say this guy's going to win, then I'm like more interested in whether they win or not. But I don't really care who wins fights. I just like boxing a lot. But anyway, after he shoots this shot, right, this is the same position Mayweather would be if he slipped the right hand himself and he was on the front foot. So what does Cotto do? He slips that right hand, right? And now look at how they're both in the same position, right? Now Mayweather says, oh shit, man, I don't want to get hit by that left hook, because again, this is the same position you would get into before you throw a left hook, right, on the front foot. So Cotto finds himself on the front foot, but takes a step back instead of attacking. Again, he doesn't know what Mayweather's going to do when he's on the front foot. Now, again, Cotto likes to do his shuffling, and Mayweather likes to say, hey, stop that, right? Attacking Cotto, front, back, front, on that front foot with the hook, right? Great boxing from Mayweather. And again, this is really clever. So now, Mayweather, right, he was attacking Cotto on the front foot, right? But he's going to start attacking him on the back foot here, right? So Cotto gets on the back foot, and Mayweather stabs him with the jab and then gets off the line. Front, right, back. And look at Cotto bring his left glove down as he gets onto the back foot, right? Still really good technique, still really good, but Mayweather follows him back with the right hand right there. Again, utilizing timing, right? This is what timing really is, right? Understanding your opponent's weight transitions, where their weight is going to be, and how you can get them into the most advantageous position to attack them. Now, the key aspect of this, Mayweather, again, wants to get to the front foot, right? So you can attack. And what you want to do is isolate your opponent on the back foot so you can land your best right hand. So Cotto's on the front foot. Wait, let's go back here. So Mayweather's on the front foot, leaning front, leaning back. Cotto's on the front. Now he's going to be leaning back, and he leans back as Mayweather comes forward, right? So Mayweather has essentially already feinted him, right, by getting on the front foot, because Cotto knows that's a dangerous position for him, right? But what Miguel Cotto is waiting for, right, when he gets on the front foot here, right, he's very likely looking to bait Mayweather's jab. See how he gets his glove up here, right? He starts bringing it down because he knows He's off the line enough to get away from the jab. But Mayweather says, oh, you are, huh? So instead, he commits to a right hand instead and throws that shot over Cotto's, flawed guard there. Now, I'm absolutely sure if we go back here, right, and we look at them getting on the line, when Miguel Cotto rocks forward, he's going to rock forward. When he rocks backwards, he's going to bring his left glove down. Forward, back. Oh, look at that. Mayweather sees this, right? So look at this. Beautiful, you guys. Cotto on the front foot. And then as he starts transferring his weight to the back foot, right? Look at how he brings back his left glove, right? Now he starts taking a step forward, gets his glove up, and then back, and brings his glove back just a little bit. Beautiful boxing from Mayweather. But you can see him setting that timing up. Let's see if he does it again here. Because it'd be much better data here, right? Okay, yeah, exactly. So Cotto on the front foot, right, has his left glove up. Now he's starting to move his weight, right? Has his left glove up, starts to move his weight to the back foot. Gets jabbed. Okay, next one. Oh, son of a gun. Gets jabbed. Now forward. Now he brings his glove back. And look at his left glove come down as he sets his weight down on his back foot, right? Then he takes a step. Brings his glove up. Oh, stays on the front foot. And look at when he brings his weight to his back foot, again, taking a step with that glove down, right? Look at him transfer his weight. And that's what Mayweather picks up on. That's why Mayweather's able to land that shot at the end of the round. Because he follows him back with that glove down. Oh, beautiful boxing, Mayweather. Again, showing like all the wrinkles, right? And again, look at this. Beautiful. Mayweather getting on that front foot, right? Cotto's shifting forward. Look at how he follows Cotto's weight transition, right? Look at Cotto trying to shuffle his head, right? Look at his head changing head slots, right? Shuffling, right? Boom, and not even getting caught, right? And look at Mayweather. Beautiful. He knows that when he shoots that jab, right, he needs to get his head over Miguel Cotto's head, and then when he shoots it, he needs to bring his head back across Cotto's line, right? And look at amazing defense. And that's all head positioning. I can do a drill video on that and show you guys kind of how that stuff works, but it's actually really simple. But that'll be for Patreon and Patreon only. But oh, sneaky. So shooting that shot, Cotto's gonna follow him, right? Now Cotto goes forward. Gets on that front foot. Oh, I can't see if he has his gloves up or not. But Mayweather's mostly looking from this position just to control Cotto from getting on the front foot. So look at how Cotto approaches the line in so much more of an aggressive position. You can't really see it because of the ref, but his right shoulder is so much farther forward, right? And his left shoulder is so much farther left, right? Because he's looking to set up some power shots, right, against Mayweather. And Mayweather sees that he's across the line, right, and just blasts him with the right hand. I'm not sure if it gets blocked or not, but just great boxing. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Yeah, I'll be having more videos coming out. I'm getting kind of hungry, so I'm going to take a break and eat some food. I'm really, really hungry right now. I feel like I'm going to throw up, actually. Yeah, the video's coming up. I'm going to be doing Naseem Hamed versus Marco Antonio Barrera. And that video is going to be called Positioning. And I'm going to be talking about some of the reasons why Naseem Hamed, in spite of the fact that he was such a great talent, could never become like an all-time great fighter. And what was wrong with what he was doing in the ring. And then I'm going to be doing a Vladimir Klitschko, Anthony Joshua fight. And those are both only going to be Patreon only for fight fans and fight fans. So for the $1 thing, if you guys sign up for my $1 a month, I'll be putting those two fights on there, Vladimir Klitschko. And actually, I think the Marco Antonio Barrera is going to be going under the $10 a month one, fight fans only, because it's so centered around boxing technique. But feel free to check it out. It will be going up. I think it'll be going up later today. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to support me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. The more patrons I get, the more videos I'll be able to do here and for Patreon as well. So yeah. Anyway, thanks guys.